Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah Anandalilamaya Vigrahaya Hemabadibit Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Maha Prema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Bhaktya Vina Aparanasya Chirtasya Kalvaritara Kamati Privarita Sharanam Navana Vrinde Namaste Jagaravinda Vrinde Namaste Jagaravinda Govinda Namo Namaraveti Govinda Namo Namaraveti Govinda Namo Namaraveti Govinda Namo Namaraveti Hey Krishna Hey Radha Hey Saketi Govinda Namo Namaraveti Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvayavana Iti Vigyaya Devi Tam Namah Charantikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers, thousands and thousands of times at the feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual guru. Asmadil Paramarada-Tattva, Guru Pada Padma, Nitya Lila Pravishnu Om Vishnu Pad, Ashto Tarasata Sisimat, Rupanuga Acharya Vari, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I bow down to the lotus feet of my Guru's Guru and to his Guru. And you can see here this one graphic with my Guru and his Guru and his Guru and all the Gurus going back thousands of years to see Krishna himself. So I offer my pranam to all my Gurus. And finally, with great affection and respect, I offer my pranam to all of you, my dear brothers and sisters. Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. By the causeless mercy of Sri Guru and Gauranga, today we are celebrating, observing the great festival, Maha Mahotsava, the great festival of Radha-Tattva. Ashtami means the 8th day of the moon, upon which the Supreme Goddess, Sri Radha, appeared within this world. Astavingsa Chatur-yuga Dvapare Rashesh Vraja Sahite Krishna Prakashi. Only once in the day of Brahma, only once in 8,400,000,000 years, Sri Krishna appears in this world on Krishna Janmastami, and then 15 days later, his most beloved Srimati Radhika appears in this world also. Who is Radha? I want to explain in such a way that even a small child can understand. Everything that we do requires some Shakti. To see, you have to have some Shakti of vision, the power of vision. To hear, you have to have the power of hearing. To digest your food, you have to have the power of digestion. So everything is going on by Shakti, by power. This power has a source. Just like outside there's light. But the light is not just growing on the trees. It has a source. It has come from the sun. So, in the Vedas, God is compared to the sun. That personality from whom all the energy has emanated. So, Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shuryate Swabhavika Jnana Balakriyacha. In the Upanishads, it is said that the Shakti of God is known by many different names according to the function that Shakti is doing. So, all the Shaktis, the energies which are moving in this material world, that is called the Maya Shakti. The Shakti where God's energy is acting as Maya Shakti, the illusory energy of this temporary material world. And the totality of that Maya Shakti has a form, and that is Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Eka Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Bibharti Durga. 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 Kalima. Sati. Parvati. She has so many names. And she's the consort of Mahadev Shiva. So, she is the mother nature of this material world. Her name is Durga. Ga means gaman, to go. And Dur means difficult. It's very difficult to go out from this material world. Not so easy. Daiviyasha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna said, the gunas, the three qualities of this material energy, sattva, rajas and tamas, are very, very difficult to overcome. Because each one of us is a tiny atomic, like a photon emanating from the sun of the Supreme Lord. And we are very tiny. And this material energy is vast. So it's very difficult for us to conquer over it. We try to become detached, but then we become proud about being detached. Like this. So one way or another, the material energy will catch you with so many traps. So Krishna said, Daiviyasha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. It's very difficult to overcome this material energy. But Mameva Ye Prapadyante Mayam Metam Tarantite. But if someone will surrender to me, he can very easily go beyond the Maya. So, to surrender fully to Krishna, to be fully dedicated by body, mind and words, and eventually when we become free from the material ego and we realize our Atma Swarupa, our spiritual form, to give ourselves fully to Krishna in our soul body, the Swarup, in our spiritual form. So for that we have to be completely immersed in love. Completely immersed in love. So this material energy is the shadow of the spiritual energy of love. So that's why in this world we see there's love between friends. There's love between parents and their children. There's love between the heroes and heroines. But that is only the reflection, the shadow of the real, perfect, eternal, pristine, immaculate, selfless love of the spiritual one. So, if we'll follow the path of bhakti, then you can realize your soul's form in the spiritual form. Then when your soul's form is singing, not only this physical form, but in your Swarup, as an associate, a servant of Radha and Krishna, when your soul is singing, then that kirtan has so much power. Everyone can feel. Their hairs are standing on there. And they think, I want to serve Krishna. So this is how the love of the spiritual world spreads through this Harinam Sankirtan, chanting of the holy names. So, the Swarup Shakti, not the material energy, the shadow, the actual divine potency of the Lord. The complete Purna Shakti, total energy of God, that is called Radha. Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shakti Man, Dui Vastu Vedanai Shastra Praman. As Krishna is the complete sun, and all energy comes from him, the totality of all energy is Radha. So, when the Vedas first manifest in this world, 4 Vedas came from 4 mouths of Brahma. So if you follow our Guru Parampara back, so many generations, about 36 generations, you come to Brahma. So Brahma at first, he did not know the Vedas. Only the Supreme Lord inspired in his heart the appearance of one syllable. Om is a beej, a seed, and that seed sprouted. And from this beej mantra came the whole Gayatri. What is that? Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tatsaditur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimani Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. You gave me mantra, now I became your disciple. Thank you. The meaning of Om is explained in the Vedanta Sutra. Janma Jasya Yataha, that from which all existence emanates. Bhur Bhuvah Swa, these are the planetary systems. There are 14. So above the earth, Bhur Bhuvah Swa Swarga. Then Mahalok, Janalok, Tapalok, Satyalok. And below the earth, then Atal Vital, Rasatal, Sutal, down to Patalok. These are the 14 planetary systems. So in this Gayatri mantra, only 3 have been mentioned, but because it's poetry, this is the nature of poetry, by mentioning just some of them, by Lakshana Vritti in Sanskrit, by the associative meaning, then it means the whole universe. So, Savitur means the sun. So God is like the sun. He has manifested this world. And He has given all heat and light and life to everyone. Whatever power, whatever Shakti you have, this is not yours. Never ever take credit for anything that you do, except for your mistakes. We have the other mentality. If we do something, we're successful, then I want a medal. Give me an award. At least appreciate me. But when we make a mistake, it just happened. It was fate. It was not in my control. But success, we think it was in my control. No. All is going on only by the grace of God. So, that Supreme Lord, He is Varanyam. That is to be honored, to be worshipped, to be propitiated, to beg, to weep for His grace. So, Bharagaha means Shakti, light, effulgence. Devasya, it's the genitive case of the word Dev. Dev means God. Dhimahi. And Dhimahi is very important. It's very important to understand the grammar. This is the first person plural. Not singular, not dual. In Sanskrit, there's singular, dual and plural. It's plural. It means more than two. And we, Dhimahi means we meditate together. On what? Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. We are meditating together on the Shakti of the Supreme Lord. So the complete Shakti of God, that is Radha. And therefore, the purpose of the Gayatri Mantra is to send everyone into devotion to Radha. It is not to get mukti, moksha, nirvana, to mix into some light where there's no variety. It is not that I am you and you are me and we are all the same. Why? Because Dhimahi is in the plural. We meditate. If our individuality were an illusion, then all the Vedas would be wrong. The Brahma Gayatri would be wrong. Brahma Gayatri, the Gayatri is telling the supreme reality. I am an individual, we're all individuals. Without our individuality, we cannot love. And if you renounce that individuality, then love disappears. So we don't want mukti, moksha, nirvana. Bhakti is beyond nirvana. In the end of Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna said, Brahma bhuta prasanatma na sochati na kankshati. When a person realizes the light, then they become very happy. Na sochati, they never lament. Na kankshati, they never hanker for anything of this world. Samak sarveshu bhuteshu, they see everyone equally. Mad bhaktim labate param. And after that, they become devotees. They do bhakti. So bhakti is not something that we do to get mukti, liberation. Bhakti is something you do after you are liberated. It is the highest destination. The eternal love, love that never ends. But luckily, even in our conditioned state, we can begin, like babies, to make our first steps on the path of bhakti, which will take us beyond nirvana, beyond liberation, to the beautiful, variegated spiritual world, where Krishna is Supreme Lord. But, being Supreme Lord, being God, it's not all it's cut out to be. Why? Because when you are God and you are great and everyone's bowing down to you, then you have no friends. You see, because friendship depends on feeling equal. When you feel equality with someone, you have friendship. But if you feel they're very great and you're very small, then you become more like a servant. And there's a distance between your heart. So in the highest level of the spiritual sky, beyond Brahman, beyond Vaikuntha, on the highest spiritual planet, Goloka Vrindavan. There God hides his godhood and appears like a young boy, playing a flute, decorated with a peacock feather and earrings made of berries that he found in the forest. He's walking bare feet in the dust. And he loves his cows. He embraces his cows. He likes to play in the river with his friends. And his Shakti, the supreme Shakti from which all the universes have come from, described in the Brahma Gayatri, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, all of us meditate together on that one Shakti of God. We are in plural, Dhimahi, and Devasya is singular, genitive case. Ekavachanam Shasti Vibhakti. This is the grammar of the mantra. So, but there, in that spiritual realm, his Shakti plays like a maiden who lives in a village. That is Sri Radha. And Radha and Krishna from their childhood, they fall in love with each other, uncontrollable, unstoppable, irresistible love. So this, the Vedas, the Brahma Gayatri, the Bij mantra Om, deeply, if you go deeply into it, it means that all of us, because dhyan, to meditate, dhimahi, what do you meditate on? You meditate on that object for which you have attachment. Right? So sometimes you meditate on chocolate. Sometimes you meditate on your cat. Sometimes you meditate on your guitar. Whatever. Whatever you are attached to, then your mind will go there. So then how will you do? Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Always meditating on Radha. Only when the heart is completely filled with love. Now, many persons, they try to serve Krishna themselves directly. But this is not the best policy of life. The best policy of life is to serve Radha. Why? Because Krishna loves Radha more than his own life. So, if you try to please Krishna, you may please him a little bit. But if you serve Radha, then Krishna will be very, very anxious to meet with you. Just like if someone is walking in the park with their dog. You don't know that person, but if you go up and you pat their dog, then at once they love you. Because if you show the kindness to that person who is very dear to them, so this is transcendental psychology. Be intelligent. If you want to please Krishna, try to serve Radha. So today, we are observing Radhastami. But this Radhastami is the fulfillment of the Brahma Gayatri. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. We're all meditating together on Radha. Now a question comes, how can you meditate together? No one ever heard that meditation was a group activity. Right? Because it's going on within. So how can we be coordinated in our meditation? You cannot see what's going on in his mind and he cannot see what's going on in her mind. Like that. So then how will your consciousnesses be coordinated in love? Well, there is a way. So there's a Purana which is the explanation of the Brahma Gayatri. Arto yam Brahma Sutranam Bharatata Vininayo Gayatri Basya Rupa So Vedata Paribrahmita Gayatri Basya. So that Purana is called the Bhagavad Purana or Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the first verse it said Satyam Param Dhimahi. Let us meditate on that supreme truth, Radha and Krishna. Now there's a technique in Vedic literature that those who have compiled them, like Vyasadeva, they have a technique that that which is in the first verse is explained in the last verse. So the Bhagavad Purana has 18,000 verses. So in the first verse, Satyam Param Dhimai, and this is explained 17,999 verses later at the end. What does that Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi? How do you fulfill that? The communal, harmonized meditation. So in the very last verse, he said, Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Parnashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamanas Tam Namami Harim Param. Nam Sankirtan, by chanting the holy names together. So when you come together and you sing the kirtan of the names of Radha and Krishna, then you are fulfilling the deepest esoteric, mysterious purpose of all the Vedas. There are great poets in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, and they've tried to express the greatness of Sri Radha. So, 5,000 years ago, little more than that today, Sri Radha appeared. Now Krishna had appeared 2 weeks earlier. So the great sage Narad, who plays on his veena and travels throughout the universe, he knew that Krishna had appeared. So he was thinking, where the Shaktiman has appeared, the Shakti must be somewhere nearby. So he was wandering throughout Braja. All of you, please come in the end of October and for the month of November to Braj Mandal Parikrama. And we'll go to each place of many pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Now you'll hear some pastimes of Radha and Krishna. But if you hear those pastimes in the place where that Leela took place, not took place, is taking place. All these Leelas are eternal. They are eternal reality. So when you go there, they're still there. Just there's a curtain of illusion. And if you can just pray, you can go peep beyond the curtain and see how the Leela, the play of Radha Krishna is still going on. So as Narada was wandering here and there, through the forest of Braj, he came to Gokul Mahavan. And from there he came to the village of Rava. And there was a cowherd king named Brishabhanu Maharaj. So he came to his door. Brishabhanu Maharaj opened the door. Oh, Narad, today I am fortunate, I have the association of a saint. My pranams to you. Everyone considers themselves very, very lucky that day when they can see a pure devotee, a pure saint. Please come in. Narad Muni said, Oh, Brishabhanu Maharaj, did you have a child recently? He said yes, and he held up his boy, 1 year old. Yes, this is Sridham. Sridham is Radharani's elder brother, and Krishna is a very good friend. He said, no, this child is 1 year old, but more recently. Then he said, yes, actually, my wife Kirtida has just given birth to a very beautiful girl. Narad Muni said, have you done any samskars? Because when a child is born, you have to do some ceremonies. Have you done the samskars for this baby? He said, no. Then may I do the samskars? Yes, it will be a great pleasure. So then, Brishabhanu Maharaj brought Narad Muni into the child's room. And Narad walked in and saw a very beautiful, golden, effulgent baby girl. So then he told Brishabhanu Maharaj, you should bring some rice paddy and some ghee and some incense and all the various paraphernalia so I can perform the ritual for this child. So then Brishabhanu Maharaj went out of the room. When he went out of the room, then Narad was, the Purna Shakti, the complete power of the Supreme Lord has appeared and she's there before me. As playing as a baby girl. And he folded his hands and he began to pray. Munindra Brinda Bandite Triloka Shoka Harini Prasanna Bhadra Pankade Nikunja Bhumilasini Rajendra Bharunandini Rajendra Sunu Sangate Radha-Tattva Srihama Kripananda Shabhaya Amakeshwari Priyeshwari Swadeshwari Sureshwari Triveda Bharateshwari Brahmana Sachaleshwari Rameshwari Shameshwari Amodakayaneshwari Rajeshwari Madhyamike Siradhike Namostute Siradhike Namostute. Narad Muni, his eyes were closed and in ecstasy he was offering prayers to Radhika. Makeshwari, Kriyashwari, Triveda Bharateshwari, you are the goddess of all sacrifices, you are the goddess of all knowledge, you are the goddess of all forgiveness, you are the goddess of all love. My pranams to you. So as he was praying, he heard a voice. Hey Maharaj, Baba, open your eyes and look upon your Ishta Devi. Look upon your goddess. Very bold. Girl was speaking. And Narad opened his eyes and saw Radha was not a little baby, she was a beautiful, like a teenage goddess, teenage princess. And on each side of her, her expansions, the Sakis, Lalita, Vishaka, Chitra, Tampakalata, Tunga Vidya, Induleka, Rangadevi and Sudevi. 8 principal gopis who were standing on both sides of her. And of course it was Lalita, her friend was very bold. Hey Baba, open your eyes. So when Narad saw fully Radhika and her, you see the gopis of Vrindavan, they're not village girls. They're Radhika's own feeling of love for Krishna. She wants to love him in so many ways, different ways, all at the same time. So she expands herself. Her Lalit mood becomes Lalita. Her Vishesh mood becomes Vishaka. Her Rupa, her beauty becomes Rupa Manjari. Her Rati becomes Rati Manjari. And so Radhika has manifested herself as so many gopis to all love Krishna at once. So when Narad saw Radhika like this, he was in ecstasy. And he fell on the ground and he was rolling on the ground. Radhe, 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 Radhe. So just then, her father, Vrishabhanu Maharaj, came into the room with the tray carrying everything. And so Narad rolling on the ground. Narad, are you okay? Oh, all the Sakis, the gopis all disappeared and Radhika became a little baby again. And her father, Narad, are you alright? Maharaj, can I bring you some medicine? So then Narad, he stood up and dusted himself off. Yes, yes. And then he did the sanskars for the baby. After a few days, Krishna's mother and father, Nanda and Yashoda, they came to visit Vrishabhanu Maharaj and Kirtina, the mother and father, because they're very close friends. Krishna's mom and dad, they're very close friends with Radhika's mother and father also. Actually, God has no mother and father. He's the source of everything. But only to taste what it's like to be loved by a father, what it's like to be loved by a mother. So he's playing in this way. And he's not imitating us in this world. We in this world are imitating him. That is the original love. This is the shadow here. So Nanda and Yashoda came and they met with Vrishabhanu Maharaj. They said, oh, congratulations, you have a daughter, you have a daughter. Vrishabhanu Maharaj and Kirtina Maya said, yes, we're very happy that we have a daughter. But we're very worried also. Because since she was born, she did not open her eyes. So maybe she's blind. Since she was born, you know, babies, they're very noisy. Keep you awake at night. But since she was born, she never made a sound. So we think And she may be dumb or deaf, we don't know. And just as they were expressing their anxiety and their worry to their best friends, they heard a baby crying. What is that? And they quickly went to her cot. Why? Because baby Krishna had crawled over and climbed up the side of the cot and held on the side and peered over. And Krishna looked and saw Radha for the first time. And the moment baby Krishna peered over the cot like this, then Radhika opened her big, beautiful lotus eyes. So the first thing she ever saw was Krishna. Gopal, Govinda, Damodar, Madhusudan, Shyam Sundar, Keshava, Krishna. And the eyes of Radhika were reflected in the eyes of Krishna. So from their first early days, Radha and Krishna, they have sneha, that love for each other, affection. But it is not until they become older. Because when they're little, they don't realize the nature of their relationship. But then as they start to get older, then Krishna and Radha, they begin to realize. Krishna thinks, I am a boy and she's a girl. And for the first time, the romantic rasa, that is called Madhurya rasa, romantic love begins to appear in the heart of Radha and Krishna. So, though Radhika is Krishna's Shakti, but when she came to the age when it was time for her to be married, then Krishna's mother, she was thinking, of all the girls in our village, only one is so qualified that can be the beloved of my son, Krishna. So, when a little girl, her marriage is arranged, then her hand is decorated with turmeric, So one day, Radhika was very young and she came to the house of Nanda and Yashoda, Krishna's parents. And Mother Yashoda was looking at this girl and she just wanted so much. She should be my daughter-in-law. That she couldn't check herself. She took some turmeric and grabbed the hand of Radhika. Made her hand yellow. So then when Radhika was going home, she was thinking, oh no, now I'm going to be in very big trouble with my parents. Because now I have the sign that my marriage was arranged and my parents don't even know. What will I do? So just as you come from Nandagaon, Krishna's village, to Radhika's village, Vrishabhanupur, Varsana, there's a lake, there's a kund there. So she came to that lake, she thought, I've got to wash this turmeric off before my parents see. So she came to the lake, she started to rub her hand like this. But instead of the yellow coming off her hand, the whole lake became yellow. Advertised to everyone. So even today that lake is yellow. It's called Pilipokur. Pilipokur, the yellow lake in Varsana. Do you want to go and see that lake?
Yes.
Yes, then come with me. In October. What day does Kartik begin? October 24th to November 23rd. Make your visa and ticket tomorrow. Okay? So then what happened? Actually, all the parents of the gopis in Braja, they all wanted their daughter should marry Krishna. Because everyone loves Krishna in Braja. But Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi, she's an old lady, an old yogini. So she's old, but she looks very beautiful. With white hair, very shining, saffron cloth. And in the village of Braja, Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi, all respect her. Whatever she says, her words are considered, not less authentic, less authority than the Vedas. So Purnamasi Yogamaya, the Shakti of Krishna's Leela. You see, Krishna, though he's God in Vrindavan, he gives out the responsibility to Yogamaya, the Leela Shakti. She manages everything. Krishna has no clue what will happen next. This is the wonderful nature of Krishna's Leela. Though Krishna is God and Radhika is his Shakti, in Vrindavan, he has no idea what will happen. Because that responsibility has been given to Yoga Maya, the Leela Shakti. So she was thinking, I want to make this love of Radha Krishna more interesting, more intense. So she attracted one astrologer from Mathura named Gargamuni and told him, gave him permission. Hey, Gargamuni. And then Gargamuni, he was going from house to house in Braja, in the whole village, and doing the horoscopes of all the young girls. So when he did the horoscope, he was telling the parents, your daughter's horoscope is so auspicious, so wonderful. And Krishna's horoscope is also very wonderful. But when we put the two together, not compatible. If they'll be married, some untimely fate will come to one or the other. I cannot say which. So then all the marriages to Krishna, they're all cancelled. And all the gopis, and Radha also, their marriages were arranged to others. So now this is a very big problem. Why? Because they're all in love with Krishna, but they cannot be with him. They have to live in another family, another house. So, you see, you've heard of Rasalila, when Krishna plays his flute in the middle of the night and dances with the gopis in the forest. Why are they dancing in the forest at night? Because their love is forbidden. Forbidden by Dharma. It is against all the rules of society. But their love is so powerful that it breaks all the boundaries of religion even. And the gopis abandon everything and secretly meet with Krishna in the forest at night. And because of this, they have broken every rule in the book, only to please him. So Krishna says to Radha and the gopis, Na parayam niramadya samyujam swasadu krityam vibudaya shapiva ya ma bhajan durjaya geya sankala samrishatadva pratiyatu sadhuna. Oh Radhika, I can never repay you. Even if I became your slave for millions of years, I cannot repay even one service that you have rendered to me. Why? Only for my happiness you have broken all rules and regulations. You have sacrificed your life, this life and all the next lives also, just for me. So I can never repay you. I think that your only compensation is the love that you have. What is the reward for having pure love? The love itself. Because there's nothing greater than that. So Krishna spoke these sweet romantic words to Radhika, admitting that you have defeated me. Radhikara prema guru ami sisnat amasadanana nritte nachaya udvat. Krishna said, the love of Radhika is my guru. She's teaching me how to love. God himself is saying, oh Radhika, I'm just a cowherd boy. I know how to take the cows to graze in the forest. And I know how to wrestle and play hide and seek with my friends. But I don't know about love. You know about love. Radharani says to Krishna, oh Krishna, when I hear you say my name, Praneshwari, oh Radha, you are the mistress of my pran. Then when I hear you calling my name in this way, then I feel so much happiness. I decorate myself only to please you. So when you see me, you feel happiness. But the happiness I feel when I see you is millions of times more. You are full of rasa. I am only a village girl. I don't know about love. So in this way, Krishna is weeping and drowning in humility, thinking, oh Radhika, you know love, I don't know love. And Radhika is crying, no, you know love, I don't know even what the fragrance of love is from far away. This is the nature of love. It has no pride at all. So great poets have glorified Radha. Just very close to my bhajan kutia, my place of service in Vrindavan, from my window I can see, there is the samadhi of the great saint Prabodhananda Saraswati. He has said, Yo Brahma Rudra Sukha Narada Bhishma Mukhya Alakshita Nasahasa Purushasya Tasya Sadhyo Vasikarana Churnam Ananta Shaktim Tam Radhika Charanarenum Anusmarami. Brahma, the highest demigod, Rudra, Lord Shiva, Yo Brahma Rudra, Sukha, Shukadeva Goswami, Bhishma, he's one of the 12 great Mahajans, 12 great sages, the Navayogrendras, the 9 masters of mystic yoga, the 4 Kumaras, the incarnations of Gyan, transcendental knowledge. All of these persons, even when they go in trance, they cannot even see Krishna. That reality is so high they cannot see. But that Krishna, he can be controlled in a moment. He becomes like a beggar. Please, please, accept me. If you have a certain magic powder. Sadhyo Vasikarana, Churna means powder, you know Churna? There's a magic powder, Churna, that can control that Supreme Lord who is beyond the vision in trance of all the great demigods and sages. Do you know what that magic powder is? Some dust on the feet of Radha. Tam Radhika Chanavarenam. Therefore, I am constantly meditating. I'm just a speck of dust on the toe of Radhika. Because her love is so powerful. Hari Padanaka Koti Prastaparyanta Sima Tatamapi Kalayantim Pranakote Rabishtam. Not Krishna, not the foot of Krishna, not the toe of Krishna, not the toenail of Krishna, but the tip of the very edge of the toenail of Krishna is more dear to Radharani than her millions and millions of lives she can give them up. To give happiness just to the tip of the toenail of Krishna. This is her Prem. This love of Radhika is such. Shanakatva means that when Radhika is away from Krishna, she feels 1 second seems to last like thousands of years. Ah, Krishna, where are you? And when Radha meets with Krishna, then millions of years pass like 1 second. Though Radhika completely pleases Krishna and Krishna is completely happy, but she still feels, oh, maybe he's feeling some inconvenience. And she begins to wither away in anxiety. When Radhika takes the lotus feet of Krishna and holds them on her breast, she lowers his feet onto her breast very, very slowly. Think, oh, Krishna. Yate sujata chanam buram staneshu beta shanai priyadadi mahi karkaseshu tena tavimmatasi tadvyata tena kinsuit kurpadivi brahmati dipavadayo shamna. Your feet are so soft like lotus petals. Perhaps you will feel some inconvenience by the touch of the hardness of my breast. Krishna is very happy, but she's worried. Oh, he's feeling some inconvenience. Her love is like this, that it overtakes her mind and she forgets everything, even her own name. Who am I? Where am I? When she feels separation from Krishna and she cries, oh Govinda, then her weeping, her pain of separation is so intense that even the fish in the Yamuna begin to cry. Even the demigods in heaven begin to cry. Even Lakshmi Devi in the spiritual world begins to perspire. The power of her love spreads everywhere and perturbs the whole universe. If Krishna leaves Vrindavan and goes away to Mathura, then she's praying for her own death. She thinks, oh God, for her Krishna is not God, for her Narayan is God. Krishna is just her boyfriend. She prays, oh Narayan, please let me die today. Because you know what happens when you die? Then the 5 elements in your body, they disintegrate and mix with the totality of elements. So Radharani, she prays, oh God, please let me die today because I have no chance to serve Krishna. But if I will die, then the earth in my body will mix with the totality of the earth element. And when Krishna is walking in the forest, then I'll become like the dust beneath, soft dust beneath his feet and serve him in this way. If I can die just now, then the water element in my body will mix with the totality of water. And when on a hot day, Krishna goes into a cool lake, then I can make him become cool. The fire in my body will mix with the totality of fire. And in the morning when Krishna wakes up and looks in his mirror, then in the form of light, then the fire from my body will hit the mirror and then reflect off his face, and he will see his face and smile. The air in my body will mix with the totality of air. And when Krishna is hot, then I'll come in the form of a breeze and cool him down. This is the Mahabhav, the great love of Radha. So Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati said, Yasya kadapi vasananchalakelanutta dhanyati dhanya pavanena kritartamani yogendra durgamagati madhusudanopi tasya namostu bashubhanu bhuvodishepi. One day, Radhika was upset with Krishna. She heard a rumor that Krishna had gone to play with Chandravali, another gopi. So her friends gave her advice, don't meet with him. Don't be so easy. You should make him suffer in separation. Then he'll appreciate you more. So Radha went to her kund. At the foot of Mount Govardhan, there's a place called Radha Kund. Our Chaitanya Academy, one ashram is there in Radha Kund also. You have to come there very soon. So Radha was on one side of Radha Kund. And Krishna came, and he was on the other side of the lake. And in the distance, he couldn't see what was going on. He couldn't see Radha. But the breeze was blowing, and Radha was wearing a veil. And the breeze touched the corner of her veil. And her veil was swinging in the breeze. And when that breeze touched her cloth, then because she's so fragrant, such a beautiful fragrance, that fragrance mixed in her cloth and was picked up by the breeze. And then the breeze touched by the fragrance of Radharani became intoxicated. So the breeze couldn't move very quickly. So the breeze was staggering with intoxication across the surface of the lake. On the other side of the lake, Krishna was sitting with tears in his eyes. Oh, Radhika, Radhika. And then that breeze came. And the fragrance of Radha entered into the nostrils of Krishna. Then Krishna stood up and folded his hands. Namaste. Oh breeze, I bow down to you. Thank you, thank you. You have saved my life. You have made me fortunate by bringing me the gift of the fragrance of the veil of Radhika. So, Yogendra Durga Magati Madhusudanopi, great masters of mystic yoga, it's very difficult for them to realize Krishna. If they could realize Krishna for 1 second in their meditation, they would think, I am so fortunate. But that Krishna, for whom the yogis, the great sages, think themselves fortunate if they can see him for a fraction of a second, that Krishna, he thinks that he is fortunate if for a moment he can smell the fragrance of Radhika from very far away. Therefore, tasya namostu brashobhanu bhuvodishepi. I am not qualified even to bow down to Radharani. I am not qualified to bow down to her friends, the gopis. I am not qualified to bow down to her Kund, Radha Kund. So I am just bowing down in the direction in which she is residing. These are the expressions of love for Radha. At that time, when Krishna tries to see Radhika, she's inside her cottage, and outside on the gate of the courtyard, she leaves her maidservants, young gopis. We want to be like them. And the young gopis are standing on guard to make sure Krishna doesn't try to come in and see her. So at that time, Yat Kinkuri Shubhahusha Kalukat Bhavani Nityam Parasya Purushasya Shikandamole Tasya Kadara Sanidebra Shubhanujaya Tatkeli Kunja Bhavanangana Majanisha. When Krishna comes to the gates and sees those young manjaris, the maidservants of Radhika, then he's begging them, please, let me in. I know I made a mistake, but I apologize. I'll never make such a mistake again. I promise. And Krishna's bowing down to them, offering prayers to them, doing their parikrama. Please, please, let me see Radhika. So how powerful is her love? So, it would be a matter of great fortune for me if I could just become like a straw in the broom that the gopis use for sweeping in that kunj, in that courtyard of Radhika. If I could just touch that dust of their feet, then I could understand the meaning of Prem. So eventually, those gopis, those maidservants, their hearts were melted after a long time. They said, all right, Krishna, come with me. And they brought Krishna into the kunj. But Radhika was looking the other way. Krishna thought, how can I make her soften and forgive me and accept me? So then Krishna took his flute and began to play a very beautiful romantic melody that he had played before. He was trying to remind her of their previous loving pastimes. So Krishna began to play his flute, and then Radhika was like this, and a tear came. So that's the sign. If a tear comes, that means the angry mood in the heart is melted and comes out through the eyes. So then Krishna thought, now I am successful. But will she look at me? So then Radhika, she looked from the corner of her eye. Kataksh. A glance from the corner of the eye. That is called kataksh. So, Vainam karan nipatitam skalitam shikandam Brastancha pita basanam brajrajasuna Yasya kataksha sharagata vimurjitasya Tham radhika parichayami kadarasena. Here, the great sage Prabodhananda Saraswati is praying. Oh, when Krishna was playing his flute and Radhika just looked at him from the corner of her eye, who can say what is there in her glance? Vichitra chitra sancharat chakora savalochane. In her eyes there are so many pictures. Pictures of their very intimate loving pastimes. So when Radhika, with Mahabhav, with Madanakya Mahabhav, the highest love, she glanced at Krishna, then Krishna's hands began to tremble and began to sweat. And he dropped his flute. His flute fell to the ground. But he was so bewildered by the glance of Radharani, he didn't even notice. So he was still blowing. Then his peacock feather fell from his hair. Then his pitamba, his golden shawl, fell from his shoulders. And then Krishna fainted off. So Radhika's name is Hara, Hare. Hara, when you call Hara means Hare. Like Radha becomes Radhe. So when you call Hara means Hare. Means thief. She stole his heart. At once she stole his consciousness, became senseless. That means that inside he was already meeting with her. And outwardly, Krishna fell unconscious. Then Radharani got up, oh, my dearest, my pranana. But Krishna is completely out cold. She's fanning him, putting water. But everything she tried, she massaged him. But Krishna is still unconscious from being shot with the arrow of her glance. So then Radharani, she looked at her maidservants, the Manjaris, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, Labanga Manjari, Manjulali Manjari, Kamala Manjari, Naina Mani Manjari, and all the maidservants gathered around. She told them, you should sing. So then all the Manjaris began to sing the names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And Sri Krishna opened his beautiful lotus eyes and came back to sense. So tam radhika prachami kadara sena. When will that day be mine? When I can be there in that kunj among the maidservants of Radhika and sing for her to bring Krishna back to external senses after he's shot by the arrows of love in the eyes of Radhika. So this is why we're celebrating Radhastami. To please Radhika, that she'll shower her mercy upon us and accept us as her eternal maidservants. So now the time has come for the Abhishek. Abhishek means bathing ceremony. And this is done at different times. A person may be bathed in Vedic culture when they graduate from the Gurukul, when they're studying in the school of their spiritual master. When they graduate, there's a bathing ceremony. It indicates that they are snart. Snart means bathed. Bathed in knowledge. So to indicate that they are bathed in knowledge, there's a bathing ceremony. Guru bathes the disciple. And then he leaves and goes to his home. So another bathing is at the time of a wedding. But the biggest bathing ceremony is a coronation. When a young prince is about to become the king, or a princess is about to become the queen, then they have a spectacular Abhishek, bathing ceremony. Conch shells are blowing, chamaras are waving, fans are waving, and they're massaging fragrant oils, and then fragrant water and milk and yogurt and ghee and sugar and honey and fruit juice and all kinds of delicious things. And then after that they're dried and then decorated, painted with pictures in sandalwood, chandan and kasturi musk, and decorated with beautiful cloth and ornaments, flowers and jewels. And then there's arti. So we are doing this, the coronation Abhishek of Sri Radha. Because once there was a controversy among all the gopis, the different groups of gopis. Who is Krishna's most beloved? So a rumor was going around that Krishna was going to do Abhishek of Chandravali. So it was a very big problem. And Radharani became upset. So then, to remove this rumor, then Krishna himself, he had to do the coronation of Radharani as Vrindavaneshwari, the queen of Vrindavan. So that is what we are witnessing now, that we can all participate in the divine coronation of Radha as the queen of the forest of Vrindavan.